We're standing inside SCP Continuity Plant. It's a facility that will ensure Sellafield's treatment systems can continue their critical work for generations to come. Think of it as the kidneys of the site. Just like in the human body, its job is to treat and filter on a daily basis. What makes that possible is what runs through the building. On completion of the facility, we'll have successfully installed around 17 kilometres of stainless steel pipework. That's the equivalent of running a single pipe from the Sellafield site all the way to Ennerdale Water. Without this network, nothing flows, nothing functions. The pipework is designed in Warrington, manufactured by Altrad in Renfrew, and installed here on the Sellafield site by the PPP partners. It's a huge coordinated effort to ensure the plant operates safely for generations to come.
The SCP Continuity Plant is one of the most significant infrastructure projects on the Sellafield site in a generation. It will process high-hazard effluent for the next 50 years, and it will do so without any maintenance access to its most critical systems. This means that everything, every weld, every fitting, every meter of pipework must be right. First time, every time.
SCP is a mega project building on the Sellafield site to process nuclear waste. It's replacing an existing facility and needs to run for the next 50 years. Primarily, it's liquid effluent going through the plant, so as you can imagine, it includes a lot of equipment such as tanks and vessels, like there's 53 overall. And there's a number of high-integrity other equipment such as process cabinets, pump and valve modules, and connecting all this is 17 kilometres of high-integrity pipework.
SCP is so important to Sellafield because it forms a major part of the high hazard reduction activities associated with ageing nuclear facilities. The existing SCP effluent treatment system is an ageing facility, and we have to make sure that we maintain that ability to treat effluents going forward.
To deliver this amount of equipment takes a lot of effort, and it needs a real collaborative approach between the project and the supply chain to make sure it happens and happens on time.
Every piece of pipework begins as a line on a drawing, and those drawings begin here in Warrington, where the design team at Amentum has spent years engineering a system of extraordinary complexity.
So in terms of designing the pipework for decades in a highly regulated environment, we've got very specific Sellafield standards and legal requirements that the pipework needs to meet, and we've got to specify it accordingly to make sure that those high standards are done. We need to make sure that it's made out of the correct material, that it can withstand the right pressures and temperatures that's going to be encountered over its operational life. There is about 17 kilometres worth of pipework in SCP, and in terms of the building size that this has got to fit into, that's comparable to about 2 Olympic-sized swimming pools end to end, and about 8 double-decker buses stacked on top of each other. So although that's quite a sizable amount, it's still quite small in terms of routing 17 kilometres worth of pipe, making sure there's no clashes, making sure that it can still meet the functional requirements, still be safe to install, construct and commission and operate. And so the role of those digital tools on SCP were really helpful in terms of putting together the isometrics needed for the pipework. And what it also shows as well is that because it simplifies that a lot, it shows how well and how impressive and hardworking the design team on the original SCP were all those decades ago, back in the 70s. They did all of this without any of those software packages. It was all done on paper.
Early involvement from the fabrication and installation teams meant that problems were solved on screen long before they could become problems on site.
During the design phase, we were working with manufacturing the site team quite early on in what it was called then the preliminary design stage and the detailed design stage, whereby we were holding design reviews, holding HAZOPs, constructability reviews, shearers, all of those reviews. It was so important to get the buy-in, because having to change a design later on in the design phase is so much more difficult to take into account any concerns that those stakeholders may have.
Once the isometric drawings were complete, they travelled north to a factory in Renfrew that hadn't seen work like this in a generation. Renfrew has a long industrial history, but for years this particular factory had been quiet. In April 2023, all of that changed.
We mobilised in 2023 with a view to manufacture pipework here to effectively de-risk the installation programme as well. So we've gone from a strategic vision to a physical factory with 38 people employed in it, building pipework to the highest quality that they could really be asked to do.
Renfrew was picked as a location because it allows us to tap into the local labour pool to support the project without asset stripping any of the smaller local businesses. It also allows us to self-deliver, and this self-delivery has allowed the project to flex and respond to the needs so we can change direction quickly.
The quality standards are high, they are stringent, and we always strive to meet them. We spent a lot of time working to ensure that we're compliant with the engineering specifications of Sellafield Ltd. That's through how we maintain our material traceability, how material is maintained on the shop floor, the cleanliness levels that we maintain, and also how we put the documentation pack together as well.
As part of the LFE from previous projects on Sellafield, we look to develop a welding school so that when any new welder comes onto the job, they're fully aware of the quality and standard expectations, and they get the opportunity to work to them standards in a non-production environment.
When I came here just shy of 2 years ago, they gave me an opportunity to do a C-sharp qualification that led me into the supervisor role. I feel upskilling's massively important because it allows people to achieve things that they maybe thought they'd never be able to achieve. I think that's a big thing.
For others, it was a second chance entirely.
One of my best friends actually referred me to, I was in and out of jobs, and he says there's an apprenticeship for pipe fitting if you want to go for it. Ended up getting it, and I've been here ever since for the last 5 years. The aspects of pipe fitting I find the most enjoyable is just learning all the different ways of working. The thing I'm most proud of, especially in here, is the fact I've learned so much in the way of fabricating just in the year and a half I've been here, and it gave me like more confidence and more experience to go and do my trade test and successfully pass that and become a tradesman.
I did mechanical engineering at university, at Glasgow Caledonian University, and I applied for a graduate role here. I've learned so much from the graduate scheme and through to my current job just now. Everything I've learned here will be really good in my career going forward.
I would have worked in Trinidad and Tobago before this, so I would have migrated here to work into this role. Working with the people here, it's just warm and welcoming. It's a lovely network.
The Renfrew team numbers people from across Scotland, from the wider UK, and from as far as Trinidad and Tobago, drawn together by the scale of the opportunity and the standard of the work. Innovation has been central to the Renfrew operation from the start, not just in what the team makes, but in how they make it.
There's been some really innovative things done through the fabrication and parts of the project, one of them being the TIG brushing. Every weld needs to be identified with various information. Traditionally, this information is put on using a handheld etcher. That's limited to 9 minutes a day, daily use per person. The TIG brush takes that away. And the reason for the 9 minutes is hand-arm vibration, so it also reduces the risk to the final user.
We have developed a method for using axial lock couplings for doing hydro testing, which has reduced the number of welds and the amount of scrap material that we would have generated. One of the other things that we have done is the installation of the pipe bending machine, which has allowed us to bend pipe here ourselves. The saving that you get from doing it in-house is immense in comparison to the logistics effort that you have to put into cutting material, sending it out to a subcontractor, bringing it back and then getting it back into the process.
Once manufactured, inspected, wrapped and certified, each spool is loaded onto a wagon and driven south to Sellafield.
Right first time is what we strive for in every job. Some of the wells will be accessed after this has been built, so they have to be right. The position the wells have to get into to weld some of these joints is there should be gymnasts, because you can only get that part in to see what you're welding. So the skill needed to weld on some of these jobs is exceptional.
They're black cells that the pipes are going into. It's going to be bricked up, and that's it for 50 years, plus it's decommissioning time. And the responsibility on all of us to make sure that that quality is correct is just huge. You cannot compromise on the quality or on safety. So we have a team that know what our standards that we've set are. Collectively, we've set that, and we all work to it.
The capability built on this project does not stop at the SCP building. It transfers to new projects, new facilities, and a new generation of engineers and craftspeople who have learned their trade here.
In PPP, we've established long-term key delivery partner arrangements. These KDPs are highly skilled UK-based organisations in engineering, manufacturing and construction. The KDPs are delivering essential UK skills, including complex bespoke pipe work, glove boxes, vessels, HVAC and complex fabrications. But they're also delivering high standard, high caliber specialist construction skills. The arrangement is mutually beneficial, so we get predictability and value for money into our projects. And at the same time, these organisations are able to take a longer term view on investment in skills and equipment to sustain that capability for the long term, to meet our future needs, to support delivering the Sellafield mission, but also to support the sector and the UK more widely.
We've spent the last few years achieving a quality standard and a level of competence in that we are hopeful will lead to other jobs from Sellafield being awarded. But we're also using that capability that we've developed to work on other nuclear projects for Sizewell B and Hartlepool power stations. We've got some work that we're doing at the moment for Grangemouth as well. Ideally, the long-term view is that we maintain the capability that we've now generated in order to work on defence and nuclear contracts that are coming in the future.
I think SCP should be used as almost like a flagship for the standards that we should expect for other future projects. We've built up a lot of LFE in terms of what worked well, what hasn't worked well. So I think it certainly set the bar high, and I think there's a lot of LFE that other projects can take from it.
It's easy to talk about manufacturing capability in the abstract. What you've seen in this film is what it looks like in practice. A dormant factory brought back to life, apprentices becoming tradesmen, graduates becoming engineers, and 17 kilometres of the most precisely fabricated pipework Britain has produced, woven through a building that will treat high-hazard effluent safely for the next 50 years.
We're entering a pivotal 18 months for the project, where we have several key delivery milestones to achieve: completion of the service building, completion of the effluent treatment cell, install of the pump and valve modules, and the install of the upper operating floor crane. I'm extremely proud to be working on SCP because of the culture we fostered on the project. We can offer and accept challenge. We constantly challenge initiatives. We can see innovation and efficiencies at play every day in everything we do.
So for me personally, working on SCP, it's been fantastic. It's been a real challenge, but it's been exciting. It's really exciting to see things manufactured and built right in front of your eyes, and you see the problems and the challenges and the issues we face over a long period of time. But when it's all made, it does feel great.
Seeing the design that we've had on paper for a large number of years all come to fruition is something that is really, it makes you really proud to see that happening. It makes me really proud anyway, and certainly the team, because it's a very difficult and challenging process, but we've done it and we're in the process of continuing to do that as well.
I'm hugely proud of where we've got to in the past 3 years. I think we now have a facility that we're rightly proud of. We deliver to Sellafield's very stringent quality requirements in a safe environment. We've had no incidents within the facility and since its inception. We've developed a team with some of the people in the early part of their career that have been afforded the opportunities to use this as a stepping stone for the future as well. And I just love pipe.